Hello and welcome to another episode of Unstuck with Hypnopunk Transformation with Edge. I am Hypnopunk and today's podcast is all about charisma. What is it? What is that intangible it factor? And how do you create it in yourself? Coming up. Just a shout out to everybody who has left their 5-star reviews on however they've listened to the podcast, whether that be on iTunes or Google Play. Thank you so much. Thank you for the 5-star reviews. Thank you for leaving the kind comments. There is comments like that and 5 stars. They inspire me to put more free content out there for you to consume, to help you gain even more mastery over your life with all the fluff and nonsense taken out of it. So please keep doing that, and to sweeten the deal, if you do leave me a 5-star review and some comments, then do shoot me a screenshot over at mail, M-A-I-L, at Luke, L-U-K-E, Nosis, N-O-S-I-S.com, mail at LUKEnosis.com, and you get to have a free 30-minute power session with me over Skype, which is not a hypnosis session. It is not a therapy session. It is not an opportunity for you to hemorrhage all your problems over me. No, you have to pay me for that. What it is an opportunity for you to share something that's perhaps sticking you in your life, stopping you getting from where you want to go, and brainstorming with me, having 30 minutes of my undivided time, helping you to become unstuck and transcend into the next level. Just leave the 5-star review, send me a snapshot over at mail at LUKEenosis.com, and we will set that up. So back to the session at hand. I'm recording this now for you at the penthouse suite at Hypnopunk headquarters. So today is all about charisma. I mean, what is charisma? It's something I've been fascinated with ever since I was a little boy, and it's also my favorite word. But it's one of those things that's very intangible. What is charisma? How do you measure it? What exactly is it? Well, I heard someone describe charisma over the last year as power plus comfort. Being around somebody that is powerful and you can feel their power, yet at the same time they can make you feel comfortable. An example of this would be, regardless of what your political standings may be, a president called President Bill Clinton was always someone who was said to have amazing charisma around people, that people that even would not vote for him, that hated him, that he was not their specific cup of tea in politics, yet they'd be around him. If they were around him, he would make them feel like the most special person in the room, and you knew that the guy had great power because he was perhaps the most powerful man in the world, yet he had warmth. And actually, the quote I was looking for earlier is power plus warmth is the equation to charisma, not comfort. Power plus warmth. Someone who's obviously very, very powerful, yet emits a certain amount of warmth that you feel connected to. That's a nice, simple way of finding really what is charisma. It's that it factor. Being a big professional wrestling fan back in the day, back in the 80s, what they would say about a wrestler is a wrestler should be able to go anywhere in the world, whether that be a restaurant, a bar, or a airport. And even though you may not follow wrestling at that particular time, you could just tell that person was special. That person did something big. That person stuck out. Now, it didn't just have to be that person was 330 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal with muscles, or that they were 7'4" like Andre the Giant, or that they had a crazy flashing light like Chris Jericho. But there was just something with this person's presence that you just knew that they did something, that they stood out, that they were special, that intangible quality. And really, it's that thing that it's hard to bottle, but when you're around someone that has it, they just make you feel amazing. They make you feel that they're amazing, but you feel amazing just purely being in their presence. Now, growing up, one of my very, very best, dearest friends growing up was a guy called Ahmed. And Ahmed was the most charismatic person that I ever met. And I'll tell you a little bit about meeting Ahmed. I'd met him, and I was going to go on a barge, a barge boat trip with him as part of this youth initiative. I was saying it like Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny there. Youth initiatives, like a youth club. And I was 18 at the time. I just come back from my first trip to New York, and I found this kind of youth club. And they had a trip coming up, and it was 5 days on a barge. And I don't know if my North American friends know what a barge is, but it's one of those long, flat boats that you've probably often seen in Europe, specifically places like Amsterdam and Denmark. They're very, very slow, but you can live in them. They have kitchens, they have restrooms, you can sleep in there. It's basically, you live on it. It's a little home, but it's very flat. You can stand on top of it, and it tends to be quite long. What had happened is these people would rent out their boat, and the youth club that I was part of were going on it, and most of the people I just met for the first time. So there was 2 counselors, if you will, and there was 4 youngsters. There was me, Ahmed, this girl called Shelley, and this guy called Mike. There was 4 youngsters, and I'd never met any of them. So it came to going on the barge trip, and I was a little bit apprehensive and nervous, wondering if I was going to connect with people, and too much in my own head. I didn't particularly connect with Shelley, didn't particularly connect with Mike, but there was this Ahmed guy, and actually, I told a lie just a moment ago, and it's the last time I ever do it with you. I actually did meet Ahmed about a week before we were going to go on the barge trip, and it was a little meeting where everyone was coming together who's going to be on a barge trip. And I remember seeing this guy, this Bengali guy, and straight away I disliked him. I'm like, this guy's going to have a big head, he's going to be very egotistical, he's going to be very annoying, I am not going to get along with this guy. That's what I said inside my head. So it came to about a week later, and we are on the barge trip, and I had my first conversation with this guy, a conversation that spent the whole night. We were just talking, and I remember talking to him about charisma, and I remember saying to him, how did you get to be so charismatic? And I'd never heard anyone talk about charisma in everyday life. And he says, I was about to ask you the same question, which made me be filled with joy, quite frankly. And here was a guy that just omitted this amazing quality to make people feel special. And you saw him in this overflowing of confidence, but not arrogance. But some people would see it, maybe misguided in what they saw, and would judge it as being arrogance. But it was just this amazing charisma that you were around him, and it'd make you want to be more of yourself. And I remembered I was 17, 18 at the time, and I was not quite sure who I was in this world, and I'd oftentimes try and muzzle myself, thinking I couldn't be this guy or who I truly felt that I was, in case people didn't like me and I wouldn't connect with people. And it was on that night of meeting Ahmed that I saw him. I saw somewhat of a reflection of me, and I realized it was something amazing that I was seeing it, and it was just something really, really special. Yes, I'm putting myself over, but at the same time putting Ahmed over, and I'm like, in that conversation with him, just connecting with him, I said to myself in that moment as an 18-year-old, it's okay to be me. It's okay to be me fully. It's okay to be me with the volume turned up, because I'm seeing a guy that I like and I'm connected to, and I feel this great affection for. And why is that? Because the guy feels and seems to be a lot like me when all my barriers are removed. So it was at that moment that the term charisma meant so much for me. It is then when I encapsulated when someone was naturally being themselves to their full level, was giving me permission to be myself at my fullest level. And I think that's what charisma is. It's really, if I was going to say to you 5 ways to develop your charisma, here's what I'd say. Stand out. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to have a voice. Don't be afraid not to have a style. Stand out. It's okay. Like the wrestler at the airport. Be yourself fully. Don't muzzle yourself. Don't don't castrize yourself. Don't castrate, I should say, yourself. Be yourself fully, and some people are going to love you, and you're going to find your tribe. And some people will hate you, and guess what? They're not your tribe. It's okay, but be yourself fully. connect with people, but not just a surface, necessarily a surface level where a lot of small talk. This is why I don't tend to like networking meetings, because there's a lot of surface level connection, and to be honest, I don't really have time with it, and I haven't really developed that muscle inside my head. Perhaps I should. It's about connecting with people on different levels. Yeah, a little bit of surface, because you have to be a little bit of surface before you can get depth, but really connecting deeply with people. Number 4, connecting people to themselves, and that's what Ahmed did to me, or did for me, is I could see himself being himself fully, and that then gave me permission to be myself fully, and by seeing him at his level, it allowed me to connect to my highest level and connect deeply to my unconscious, deeply to my own personal charisma and magnetism, to allow me, to give me permission, if you will, to be myself fully. So be yourself fully. That allows people to connect to themselves. And number 5, how can you be charismatic? Remember, the equation of charisma is power plus warmth. The number 5 way to develop charisma in yourself is allow people to be themselves totally around you. Now, there's somebody that I know that said to me over the last year is, Luke, what makes you special is I feel that I can be myself totally around you. I feel that I can be the most me that I've ever been in any type of relationship when I'm around you. Giving people to be themselves fully around you, the ups and the downs. When people feel that, it's such a rare quality, where someone feels like they can just be totally open with you. They don't have to put on the facade. That is an amazing gift to give people. And when you can allow people to do that, remember, you can only allow people to do it by doing it yourself, then you can really develop charisma. And I do want to make a differentiate. I want to differentiate between charm and charisma, because oftentimes people use these words interchangeable. I think charm is a really good thing to have, but I think charm, when you're a charming person, it's all about you. Oh, he's such a charming chap. Oh, George Clooney, look at the charm. He's handsome. Oh, he's so charming. He always says the right things. Oh, you know, what a nice guy. So smooth in what he says. I think charm is more about the person. That person's charming. George Clooney is charming. Bill friggin' Clinton is charming. I think that's what charming is. It's about person. It can be somewhat selfish. Whereas charisma is, wow, that person stands out and that light is so bright. But at the same time, that person's given me permission to be me, because that person's at their most attractiveness. And I'm not just talking about appearance, but I'm talking about their personality turned up, their essence, not an obnoxious, loud for the sake of being loud, leery, annoying, aggravating person, but they're letting that light shine from inside of them, which gives you permission to allow that light from you shine. So yeah, you are seeing that person that's standing out, that person at the airport, but when you're engaging with them, it allows you to go deep inside and say, wow, what an attractive magnetic quality. What is it about this person that I like so much? They're being themselves fully, and if they're being themselves fully, that gives me permission to be myself fully, because they're connecting me, they're allowing me to connect to myself and other people in turn. So that's the difference between charm and charisma. Charm tends to be, it's all about the person. Look how great I am, look how handsome I am, oh, I'm so charming, I'm so smooth with my words, people want to give me money, people want to sleep with me. Oh, that's charm. Charisma is that shining light that's like, wow, it's so friggin' blinding, yet it gives me permission to find that blinding light inside of me and to shine it out. So a quick recap on 5 ways to develop charisma inside you. Stand out. Don't be afraid to stand out, in the way you dress, in the way you move, in the way that you stand. Stand out. Be different. Be different. Have your own unique soul print. Number 2, be yourself fully. Don't water yourself down. Don't castrate yourself. Don't muzzle yourself because you're afraid that some people out there on social media might not like you. Be yourself fully. Because guess what? Everyone else is already taken. Connect with people. And yeah, on a level, there is a little surface to begin with, because you can't go straight into depth with someone you're meeting for the first time and you're like, hey, what are your hopes, dreams and ambitions? It's going to come across as a bit weird, so you've got to walk them into it. You do need some wide rapport to begin with. Hey, how's it going? How's your day going? What about this weather? What about the hockey game? What about the World Cup? Yada yada yada, to go a little bit deeper, to find out really what people are. But you're only using that surface level rapport to get a deep level rapport. Connecting, allowing people to connect with themselves. One of the best gifts you can give, and what I like to do in my change work, is to take myself out of the equation as soon as I can. So as soon as I've given a client all the tools they need, I respectfully and lovingly say to them, I want to see you as the shortest amount of time, for the least amount of sessions possible, so you can go out in the world, because you will have all the tools that you need and never need me again about this problem. You might want to work with me over a different issue in the future, but you don't need me anymore, because I'm connecting you to yourself. And I think that's one of the most amazing gifts you can give people, is to empower them. They do not need you, to allow them to connect to that deepest part of their unconscious. And the fifth way, again, allowing people to be themselves fully around you, so they don't feel that they need to edit. They can be their best, they can be their worst about you, but they can be themselves fully, with all their quirks, all their geekiness, all their nonsense as well. They can be themselves. Because remember, people don't remember necessarily all that you say, but people always remember how you made them feel. And that's what charisma is. It's about people remembering you and how you made them feel. That's that special, that it factor, that intangible quality that I'm a big believer in. Anything can be learned in life. Any particular skill, to a certain level, can be learned. I mean, if you learn to play tennis as a 38-year-old man and you've never played it before, are you going to win Wimbledon under 20s? Probably not, because the barrier of entry is over, but you can still become a great tennis player. But I often have a battle with, I do believe most skills can be learned: languages, mathematics, people skills. Charisma, I always have this little bit of a battle with, though. There's always a little caveat: is are you born charismatic, or do you learn to be charismatic? Because it's such a special quality that when you do see someone with it, when you do feel someone with it, it feels special. And you might have 100 interactions a day with people. You get your coffee at Starbucks, the person who cleans your car, the secretary at work, whatever. Yet none of those may feel that special. They're just much to a muchness. They're things that you do. But then there's that one person who serves you at Starbucks, and there's just that quality, and it has nothing to do necessarily to being attracted to them, because they could be the same sex as you, and you could be straight, or they could be the opposite sex, you could be gay. You know what I'm trying to say. It has nothing to do with sexuality, but there's just that connection. Is like, well, this person's got something. This person's got something going on. It's not so much what they're saying, rather it's who they are, and it's what they're being in that moment that you are experiencing. So when you can create that in yourself, and then you can create that with other people, it's amazing. So I like to put it up there on the top of the mantelpiece as one of those special, elusive skills. And part of being a change worker, an agent of change, is believing anything can be modelled and anything can be learned. But I also sometimes get a bit greedy with that charisma, and like, well, you know what? It's just a special skill that some people have. So I'll reframe it in my own mind out there. I think it's something that anyone can do. Most people will never do it, because most people will never look into it. So those people that do it, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, and they go out there and they spread that charisma out, that beautiful blinding light, is an amazing gift. And the people that do it rather than people who think about it, these are the people that change the world. These are the people that give us hope that there can be a new future, that we can change this problem that's been permanent, that's been stuck in our life. These are the people that make us believe that anything is possible, because they are possible, so in turn we are possible. So that was charisma, my favourite word. my favorite emotion, my favorite trait. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, as always, please send me an email, leave comments about this. And also I've put together a fact sheet, which is 5 ways to become more charismatic in your life, which will expand upon those 5 points that I've gone over today. If you'd like a copy of that, then please do send me an email at mail, M-A-I-L, at LUKEenosis.com, and I will send that off to you. As always, I have been Hypnopunk, coming live from the penthouse suite somewhere in Toronto, Canada. Always believe.